On India 360 tonight, we're talking about preventing suicide. Amrita Tripathi finds that it's very important to learn to recognize signs that someone may be thinking of this drastic step.
One suicide is reported in the country every 5 minutes. 1 in 3 suicides is a young person, 15 to 29 years old. What's even scarier is that myths about suicide might be preventing us from helping.
The first biggest myth really is that people believe that if somebody is talking about suicide and talking about wanting to harm themselves or end their life, that they will not do it, which is actually absolutely incorrect, because research indicates that most people who end up killing themselves have at some point or the other shared with a person around them that that's a thought that they have.
13% of teens today are suffering from depression, and according to a NIMHAN study, nearly 65% parents are unaware of it. So look out for these signs in your child: deliberate self-harm or a change in behavior, a change in sleep patterns or appetite, or maybe just an increase in irritability and anger. Also listen up for statements of helplessness and hopelessness.
People who have a definite plan of how they're going to do it, when they're going to do it, are most likely to end their life. So any sort of strange objects that are not usually a part and parcel of that person's environment could reflect a concern.
Even if you feel like things are spinning out of control, the important thing is to give yourself time and the option to get help. It might be the single most important decision you make.
If you don't feel like talking to family or friends, you could speak to trained counselors anonymously. Just call a helpline. With Amrita Tripathi in New Delhi, Shalini.
We have a panel of guests here tonight on India 360. Dr. Shetty, are there always signs in the case, is there always a way to tell that this person might be contemplating suicide?
Most of them who are depressed might share it with their friends, their peers, or even their family members. Sentences like, "I will not come to school again," said consistently. "I would like to go far away. I would want to join God. I want to run away from the house. I feel death is the only option. I feel like dying." Children have uttered these sentences in the past in our psychological autopsies, and people around them have never believed them till they actually attempt it. But there's another group who are very anxious at an event. For example, if they get very low marks, they get extremely anxious at that moment of time. They're ashamed. They feel that they would be blamed, they would be humiliated by people around, and they take an impulsive step. So there are many kids who have impulsive attempts. They would jump down a building and then scream because they did not want to. These are the kids who may not give any signs. But most of the kids who are depressed would utter the suicide sentences.
Would give some sort of a sign.
Yeah.
Mr. Furtado, you were talking about the dual education system that we put our children through, and despite so many people being with our children through the day, we find that no one actually identifies those signs.
Talking about this dual system, what I'm trying to say is, you see, once we admit our child to a school, what experiences that I have seen, the child spends 5.5 to 6 hours in school, and then he comes home for a short while, has his lunch or whatever thing, and then he's sent back again for a tuition class. So he comes back by 1:30, by 2 o'clock he's out, 2 to 3 is at one apartment for one subject, 3 to 4 at another apartment, and so he changes apartments every hour, subject-wise. And this, I say, goes on up to a period of about till the child finishes his 8th. And once he finishes his 8th, there's already people searching for a coaching class.
So he's just going from
one
class to another class
he goes to another school, and the whole day there's no time for the child to burst his energy.
No recreational measures.
No recreation.
In fact, Father Laurie, if I can get you in there, do you think that's one of the main reasons that not too many schools put so much stress on actually things like debating, things like going out and playing, being good at sports, and it's only you have to score this much percentage in studies and that's it?
Yeah, that's one of the most important reasons, I would say, as an educationist, because once you give a child a vast panorama, you give him a stage to perform, you give him a sports field, he'll find his own level, he'll find his own mastery, and then he has a purpose to live. That's what I tried to say earlier as well. It's just keeping a child involved. The second thing I would say over here, of course, is self-esteem. That's very important, not only among us adults, more so among children. So that's where we have to be really very careful as teachers to see that if we hurt the self-esteem of a child, how is he going to react? In our days we reacted differently, but today the generation is much more sensitive. And that's why we as educationists and as parents have got to be much more sensitive to these developments in children, which can lead to a loss of self-confidence,
Right.
loss of self-belief, and sort of a sense of hopelessness where they can take any drastic step.
And also well-rounded develop. All right, Father Laurie, we are totally running out of time. I'm going to have to
holistic
end this program
development
here.
is really
But
the
some of
word
the
we
points
have.
that
Yeah.
came up, one is a holistic development, you know, making sure that your child has some sort of recreational activities, and also that the signs of depression, if they're there, we try and look out for them. If you have any questions, do write into our website, ibnlive.com. Also, do reach out. There is a BMC helpline. There is a BMC helpline number as well. I might mention that, 022-2570-6000. And to end this show, something to cheer all of us up, and hopefully we've reached out to some people at least today.